Ready, Todd?
Always ready.
See? That's what we need.
In this video, I'm going to explain the typical daily routine when riding a motorbike in Vietnam, but this can apply to really any adventure holiday. Poor daily routine is one of the biggest causes of motorbike holidays going wrong. With a bad routine, a small incident like a flat tire causes a knock-on effect of driving at night, which can cause a knock-on effect to late arrival at a hotel, which can cause a knock-on effect of potentially having no food in the evening. So let me explain. In Vietnam, breakfast is typically served at 7 a.m. Lunch occurs between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m, meaning if you start looking for lunch after 1 p.m, you may find it very difficult to get food. Mechanics go to sleep around lunchtime, which is 12 p.m, it varies though, and mechanics close at 5 p.m. as well, and countryside restaurants start to close up at 8 p.m, meaning in remote areas it can be difficult to get food if you're very late to your hotel. If your routine doesn't follow the Vietnamese routine, then simple things like getting food can become inconvenient. That late night quick adjustment to your bike that you may have wanted, well, forget about it. The mechanics have all gone home to bed. So what should you do? You should wake up at 6:30 a.m. with breakfast at 7 a.m. If it takes you more than 30 minutes to wake up, then move your wake up time forward. You should be on your bikes by 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m, 9 a.m. at the absolute latest. Going beyond 9 a.m. and your day is already off to a bad start. With your 8:30 departure, you have time to cover ground and have your first coffee break around 10 to 10:30 a.m. with your lunch falling as your next break of say 12 to 1 p.m. If your day starts at 9:30 a.m, for example, then you need to start considering sacrificing your first coffee break and pushing through to lunch. The pacing of your drive already is becoming out of sync. Your coffee break will start to roll into your lunch break, for example. You should be aiming to arrive at your destination around 4 p.m, giving you a daylight buffer until 7 p.m, which also allows a quick check into your hotel and a shower and dinner by 8 p.m. The sun sets at 4 p.m. as well, and so you get the best lighting for your arrival to your new destination and a chance to explore in the best conditions before considering nighttime and dinner. Basically, a sunset drive into your destination is the best way to go. So let's talk about coffee break timings. Coffee breaks and picture breaks are all part of motorbiking Vietnam, and you absolutely must do them. However, an interesting phenomenon is that a coffee break tends to take up the same amount of time as a lunch break. It takes people time to read the menu, it takes people time to fiddle with their gear, someone walks off to take a phone call, the waiter can't find the right change. A stop is never 5 minutes. So if you find yourself planning your coffee break at 11 a.m, for example, you are far better off committing through until lunchtime or even an early lunch at say 11:30. Skip that coffee break, you don't have time for it. This is better than having a 45-minute coffee break that then pushes back into your lunch break. As a group leader, your other quick fix is to stop at the side of a road for a picture, not a full-blown coffee stop. A stop for a picture with a clear disclaimer that this is a 5-minute maximum stop. In the end though, this usually turns into 15 minutes by the time someone has refiddled with their gear for the 20th time that day. But your other quick fix is to stop at convenience stores, not coffee shops. In Vietnam, you grab a drink from the fridge by yourself, pull out a random plastic chair, place it wherever you want and get to work on your drink. You can quickly pay and you are done and on your way again. This is far faster than faffing around with waiters in coffee shops. Coffee is something that takes time in Vietnam. Breakfast at the hotel or breakfast on the road, a hard decision.
3 times yesterday told us 7 a.m. breakfast, les gars. 7:30 we start to go. 7:10 we just arrived. Let my friend.
I've already had my coffee.
And let you fight over there, buddy. Good luck.
Homestays and medium-priced hotels, say 1 million dong or more, will likely have breakfast included. Breakfast at the hotel is the most convenient way and the fastest way to get on the road. It is worth going out of your way to research hotels that include breakfast and to pay a premium if such a hotel exists in your area. For me, I will often order 2 breakfasts because 1 breakfast is never enough. You can have breakfast without gearing up and then go back to your rooms to grab all your gear, to get yourself comfortable and then ready on the bikes. Time will be saved with a hotel that has breakfast. Breakfast on the road is a bit of a logistics nightmare. Do you gear up or not? Do you walk to find the food or do you drive to find the food? Do you trust the hotel reception that the beef noodle shop is 5 minutes away? Do you trust that it is going to be open? Do you get breakfast near the hotel without your gear? Or do you fully gear up with your bags on the bike and hit the road? This decision is often made depending on your location. If you have no faith that food is nearby, then your best option is to bite the bullet, gear up, and load up everything to the bikes and hit the road. It makes for an uncomfortable morning with no breakfast, but it's quick and you will find food within 30 minutes of driving. In fact, I would argue this method is actually faster than breakfast at a hotel. If you are confident there is food somewhere near the hotel, then in my opinion, you are best off grabbing a helmet and your keys and driving to the food. Even if it is a 1-minute drive, it is astonishing how much time is lost walking to and from food locations in the morning. 10 minutes there, 10 minutes back. This is around 20 minutes of time consumed. Not to mention that the ability to walk causes the slacker of the group to be late. If a slacker hears that the group is driving off into the distance, they are far more likely to be on time. So another question, to gear up or to not gear up for breakfast? For most travelers, your gear is pretty minimal, so this may not apply. But for serious riders or off-roaders with the full kit, then the gear up question for breakfast is a big one, especially if you've been in the same clothes for 10 days in a row. If you trust your group, you can do breakfast with no gear. Usually it takes 30 minutes for breakfast, and then an efficient, organized rider can gear up in their room and have their bags packed and on the bike around 30 minutes after breakfast. Basically, breakfast and gearing up is a 1-hour deal, if the rider is efficient. If you have slow people in your group, it can take them 1 hour or more to gear up and load onto the bikes, and this isn't including breakfast. With such people, you should be forcing the gear up option before breakfast, and then also forcing them to wake up earlier to deal with their faff.
Still be able to mount his luggage like on the air. Talk about it tomorrow.
I think you just leave your luggage here, and I'll put my luggage on my bike.
Yeah.
Just swap the bike, not luggage.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Breakfast is set at 7 AM. You can't move this any earlier. So, if you have breakfast at 7 AM to 7:45 and your group contains someone that takes an hour to sort out their life, then this means that you are not ready until 8:45. You've already missed your departure time. Such a person must be forced to gear up before breakfast. Basically, they must be told to wake up earlier. Don't drive at nighttime. One of the best pieces of advice I can give to a traveler in Vietnam is do not drive at nighttime. It isn't uncommon for Tigit to receive complaints about the lights on the motorbikes not being bright enough for the Vietnamese roads. Let me tell you, none of the bikes Tigit has come with LED lights. The scooters and Honda XRs in particular have terrible lights. Upgrading to LED lights might look simple on Instagram, but in reality, it is generally a fairly major upgrade, but is not that straightforward. Yes, it is possible, but it isn't easy and we don't do it. Whilst I acknowledge that sometimes things go disastrously wrong, and maybe the bike had broken down that forced hours in mechanic shops, which consequently caused a night drive. But this is rare. In general, my initial reaction to such emails is, why are you driving at nighttime? The real truth is likely that you woke up too late and your day didn't get going. The bike being in the mechanic for 2 hours is not the reason for your night drive. A weak daily schedule that washed hours of your day away is the real contributing factor to that night drive that you just did. Aiming for 4 PM arrival at your destination gives you a good 3 hour per day window to deal with unforeseen drama before the sun drops. Your backup plan, of course, is to carry a head torch from any camping setup. A head torch, this can be strapped to the motorbike helmet, and it's very common to get complaints from customers, it doesn't matter what the bike is, that the lights are not good enough on the bike. So you should be carrying a head torch with you on your journeys. These LED head torches can be bought for around $25 from home. I carry 2 with my dirt bike setup because the lights on my bike never work. One for my head and one for the bike. Cheaper and far more powerful and reliable than any motorbike light. When you do pick up your bike from Tigit, figure out how your lighting setup will attach to the bike so you don't have to mess with this on the day that is already behind schedule. Don't buy external lights that attach to the motorbike batteries. The aim here is to avoid relying on the bike. Get lights that are completely external. Be realistic with your timings. All the above so far is assuming a normal routine of 200 kilometers a day. It is a driving holiday and you do need to commit to your day's drive. Of course, if you are planning a 100 to 150 kilometer per day drive, then life becomes far more casual and you can ignore everything above. The important thing is that everyone in your group is on the same page when it comes to distances and timings. Okay, so let's talk about dealing with slackers. There is always one person in the group that is last to be ready. This one same person will be the last to wake up, the last to breakfast, the last onto the bike, the last to put their helmet on. Every photo stop, every coffee shop, they remain to be the last to be truly ready. What I mean by truly ready is gloves on, helmet on, bike on, let's go. Once the group starts to quietly get frustrated by one person, you will find that the person who is normally the fastest decides that this time he will be the last to put the helmet on. But the person who is normally last won't take action until they are actually last. I think this is how the slacker's mind works. I will be last however slow everyone else is. So you end up in a sort of standoff where no one wants to be the first person ready. This can spiral out of control and the stops begin to get longer and longer and longer as people get more and more desperate to not always be the first person geared up and ready. In the end, the first person ready has to sit on their bike for 5 to 15 minutes waiting for the last person to sort themselves out. It isn't fun. Well, for me, I have a reputation for being aggressive on this topic. But basically, I will brief people on the route the night before, I make sure everyone has a map, and in the morning, I will simply leave them behind. I disclaim in the group set up before the tour that I don't wait for people. I do these disclaimers before any confrontation has occurred. I am extremely transparent on this issue. Then, live on the route, I will leave you behind if you are consistently not ready. Another slightly less harsh tactic is to drive 20 meters down the road and to try and force the slackers to panic a bit. If you are the person who loves the social and the chit chat, great, enjoy it. But be hyper conscious of the readiness of the group and try not always to be the last person ready. You may not realize it, but people are not happy and you will find yourself not being invited to the next ride. I would like to make it clear, but it's okay to be the weakest person in the group and the slowest rider in the group. But again, if you are this person, make sure that you're the first person actually ready to go. How to avoid delaying your group. Personal issues like needing to buy medicine, stocking up with water for the next day, buying a new charging cable, these should all be tackled in the evening before dinner. When a member of a group says that, maybe, tomorrow I need to buy a cable for my phone, it becomes the entire group's problem to scour the road looking for an electronics store. Take responsibility and don't drag your group into your own personal issues, if you can avoid it, of course. How to avoid delays in the morning. Petrol should be filled in the evening before the hotel, not in the morning. Water for the group should be sorted in the evening, not in the morning. Minor fixes to the motorbikes should be done in the morning before breakfast or just after breakfast, or in the evening before the hotel if you can find a shop that's still open. In Vietnam, there is no one-stop shop for all. So you could find yourself stopping for breakfast, stopping for water, stopping for gas. This is 3 stops before the day has even begun. And that isn't including the guy who just needs to go and buy something from somewhere. Get as much of it out of the way as possible in the evening beforehand. Dealing with fixing your bike on a rushed itinerary. In an ideal world, you are arriving to your destination around 4 p.m. and before going to the hotel, you can do quick fixes in mechanic shops before they close. Many mechanics won't want to accept any work at this time though, so you can try asking if you can leave the bike with them overnight, so they can get to work on it straight away in the morning. If you can't get the bike sorted in the afternoon, then you need to have your normal breakfast at 7 a.m. and be geared up and on the bike as quickly as possible. You should then search for a mechanic to get started on your bike. You can send your GPS location to the rest of the group to meet you at the mechanic shop after breakfast. Keep your group updated as to the status of your bike, so they don't all gear up and have to stand around waiting for you. The point here is that you must be proactive in dealing with the maintenance to your bike. It should not be a group activity that wastes all of your time. Let the others have an extended breakfast or a lie-in. Also, this helps avoid having a group of people clogging up a small mechanic shop. Your last resort is to hack along until lunchtime. It is usually very easy to find a mechanic shop near a lunch spot. Again, tell your group what you want to order and be proactive to go out and sort your bike maintenance while the food is being cooked. You can walk back to the restaurant for lunch whilst the mechanic sorts out the bike for you. Hopefully after lunch, your bike is good to go. How about leaving the big cities at 4 AM? I do not recommend leaving Ho Chi Minh or Hanoi at 4 AM in the morning to avoid traffic. So to explain, you'll be driving in the dark. Your first ever drive in Vietnam will be on an empty stomach, not great for performance. Your first ever drive in Vietnam will be on a sleep that has been cut short. If you have a flat tire or any other issue, then you have to wait until the normal morning hours anyway. I think it is a far better idea to have a normal, calm, relaxed routine in the morning that has you ready to go with your energy levels high. Okay, so you might run into some traffic, but just take it slowly and calmly. Choose your first destination as somewhere well within your range so that the day is not a rush. Get the day going with a good 6:30 AM bang, but there is no need for a 4 AM sleep cut. So the final words here is to just enjoy your journey. Things go wrong on motorbike adventures. Bikes break down, people get lost, restaurants shut, hotels mess up your bookings, etc., etc. Things go wrong. It is so important to leave early to deal with these dramas in a calm, controlled way, with plenty of time. It is not fun dealing with drama under time constraints. You should also budget at least one rest day to every 4 days of riding. This is the magic number that I found. 4 days, you need a rest day. Your ass is going to be begging for it. You should be budgeting spare time for something to go wrong on your journey. It is an adventure holiday. Stuff goes wrong. But finally, before coming to Vietnam, get your routine sorted out. Confront your group seriously and make sure that you're all on the same page when it comes to being ready. And if you are the slacker in the group, fix it before the journey ever starts. Thanks for watching.